Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're going to talk about Honey Bunch, a Shudder original horror movie from directors Madeleine, Sims, Fewer, and Dusty Mancinelli, two Canadian filmmakers who also co-directed 2020's Violation, a very moody rape revenge thriller. This movie, much like that movie, is also about relationships, but it's a weirdly more optimistic one, but we'll talk more about that in the spoiler section.
100% less rape.
100% less rape, that is very true. The movie follows a couple. The wife in the couple, Diana, has recently experienced some sort of accident, and she has recently woken up from some sort of long-form coma, and her husband, Homer, has taken her to this rehabilitation center in the middle of the woods, but it's like an experimental one that's supposed to deal with both her mental rehabilitation, but also her physical rehabilitation. But while she's at this center over the course of like a week, a lot of weird things start happening. She starts like seeing things that don't seem to be there, and seeing people that other people don't acknowledge are there, but she can clearly see them. And also there's just weird vibes about this place. Like there's a doctor they keep referencing, but she never sees. And so there's this question of, is there something sinister going on here? Is there something her husband is not telling her? And if so, what is it?
Yeah, and if you're quick enough, you are going to come up with several theories, and one of them is probably going to be the right one.
Yes, I had quite a few theories over the course of this movie. One of them turned out to be true, though to be fair, it was the theory I came up with right before they revealed what was going on. So, so to be fair to the movie, it kept me guessing up until that point.
You find yourself going like, is there a haunting or what?
Is she haunted? Is she like undead? Like she was resurrected from the dead? Like what's going on? Is she like not really the person they're saying she is, and she has like someone else's memories implanted in her? Because like she's having these like memory flashbacks to memories that don't seem to involve her. So there's a whole lot of like weirdness going on. So there's a whole lot of questions. I really liked this movie.
It's a surprising movie. It's excellent.
One thing I really liked about this movie right off the bat is the movie is set in the 1970s, and the movie signals this not just through like the way people are dressing and like the technology being used in the movie. Like the guy's car is very 70s.
Yeah. They never actually tell you it's the 70s, but it's clearly the 70s.
But it's clearly the 70s. And the other way they signal it is the actual filmmaking style of the movie. They recreate a lot of the vibes and the style of 1970s horror movies.
Yeah, and particularly like movies like Sybil.
I was also thinking of, God, what's the name of that movie?
Burnt Offerings.
But anyway, it reminded me a lot of various haunted house movies from that period of time. That's not to say that this is a haunted house movie. We'll talk about what this is.
We'll talk about what it really is in the spoilers.
When we get to the spoilers, but it had a lot of those vibes. But like a great example of what I mean by like using 70s techniques is instead of doing a lot of push-ins, there's a lot of zoom-ins.
Nice. Yeah.
You know, back in the 70s, it was basically in style to, instead of putting a camera on a track and like pushing in on someone for like a dramatic effect, you would just put a zoom lens on and just zoom in real fast. And it definitely like sets the mood. It makes it feel like you're watching a movie that was lost from the 1970s. Even though I'm pretty sure it was shot digitally, but they managed to recreate the feeling anyway. I really like that. The other thing I really like about this movie is that I found myself really invested in the two main characters, Diana and Homer.
Yeah, you find yourself going between, he's a terrible guy. Oh, no, he's a great guy. Oh, no, he's a terrible guy. Oh, no, he's a great guy.
One of the great mechanics in this movie is that because she is reforming her memories after having lost them in the trauma and the coma, she is constantly having like flashbacks to things that happened in her past. In those flashbacks, you get various glimpses of what their life was like before the accident. Your sympathies shift with each argument you see. Like you'll have a scene where you'll be like, oh man, he's such an asshole. Why is she with him? And then you'll have a scene after that where you'd be like, wait, she's such a bitch. Why is he with her?
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that is also important to note that is really good about the movie is this relationship was never perfect.
No.
It was always fraught with like problems. Yes.
But one thing it does make clear when you see the flashback is that there was definitely a point in time where their relationship was very different than the way it is now.
Yeah.
Now it almost feels like they're more in sync than some of the flashbacks are indicating.
Yeah. The farther back into the past they go, like, the more they're arguing all the time.
Which further leads, like, especially you as the audience, but also her as a character to think that maybe her husband did something and he's hiding something from her and that there's something else going on with this whole rehabilitation thing that he's not telling her.
Yeah, like maybe it's a, what was that movie that was all about the woman who thinks she's going insane and it turns out it's a big simulation? Like,
oh, yeah, Don't Worry, Darling.
Don't Worry, Darling. Yeah, like it could be a Don't Worry, Darling situation.
Yeah, like a Don't Worry, Darling, like Stepford Wives situation. Maybe they're trying to rehabilitate her into a perfect wife.
Yeah.
And that's what's going on. Because there's some weird shit in this movie. Like, they sit her in a room with, like, this strobing light and, like, memories of her trauma.
Epileptics, stay the fuck away.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
When those scenes happen, I kept thinking about the movie Get Out.
Yes.
Which was also hearkening back to some 70s, like, horror and stuff. The other thing I also really love about this movie is the score to the movie. The score to the movie has this kind of, like, choral vocal chanting that reminded me a lot of the movie Men.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of like eerie chanting and like it like increases pace when things are more intense and it's a little bit more ethereal when things are more calm, but it's never not unsettling.
Yeah, it's never quite right. If you know what I mean.
Because of that chanting and because of the fact that it reminded me so much of the movie Men, it made me wonder if maybe something magical was happening.
Yeah.
Like maybe she was like a fairy folk person that, or like a replacement, like a doppelganger or something.
Yeah, you really don't have any idea like which way the plot's gonna swing until it actually reveals itself.
My suspicions about possibly fairy people is just increased the more she just starts seeing random women in the woods.
Yeah.
That just kind of like look at her and then just bolt off running into the woods. And you're like, wait, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, what is happening? Why was there all of a sudden a woman there? Why is she running away? You know, like what's going on?
But when this movie reaches its final act, which we'll talk more in detail about in the spoiler section, because there's some deep spoilers there.
Ooh, yeah.
But when this movie reaches the final act, I really loved the direction this movie went. There is a very easy way this movie could have went that is more standard, and I like that the movie chose not to go the standard route.
Yeah, well, that would have been kind of a waste.
Yes, it would have been a waste. And it also makes the point of this movie all the more impactful. Like, I just really loved, like, the message of this movie at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, this movie is ultimately an exploration of, like, what love and devotion is and what it means.
Yeah.
And it comes to a conclusion on that at the end that I thought was kind of beautiful.
Though unsettling.
Though unsettling, because the movie's still fucked up, but it's fucked up in a weirdly romantic way.
Yeah.
That's almost like the polar opposite of Violation.
Yeah.
in that sense. So anyway, before we move on to the spoilers, I want to mention that there is a jump scare in this movie, and I don't mean a literal jump scare. I just mean all of a sudden Oscar Isaacs has showed up in this movie, and I was not expecting it. It was just like, suddenly Oscar Isaacs. And
Oscar Isaac comes up, and all of a sudden the acting quotient of the movie goes up 20%.
It does, because everyone was good before he showed up. Don't get me wrong. The main characters are doing a great job, but when he shows up in his cameo role, which I guess is more like a supporting role, he elevates so much of this movie just by being so damn good. He takes a small character that could have easily been a forgettable part of the movie and makes it so memorable. Same thing with Julian Richings, who's also in this movie.
Yeah, Julian Richings is in this movie.
He plays the guy who's doing all like the caretaking on the grounds, and his small part is also one that could have been easily forgettable, but is instantly memorable because that actor did it.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend Honey Bunch. It is currently on Shudder. I think you can rent it on other platforms because I believe it was released in Canada first before it came here, so you can probably go rent it somewhere else, but if you have Shudder, go check it out there. And with that said, let us move on to the spoilers.
Okay, strap in. So here's what's going on. So she's suffered a traumatic, not only physical, but brain injury.
Yep.
And what this facility does is it makes clones, which then have to have the old memories implanted in them.
Yep. So the rehabilitation she's going through is the rehabilitation of her memories coming back into the body.
Yeah.
And also her memories and herself connecting with her ability to use her body.
Yeah. And also like some of the early stuff that happens right after they're like essentially hatched. hatched.
Yes.
You know,
because you're essentially like a baby who's just been born, and you kind of have to like reconnect with the world, which explains some of the weirdness that was going on in the movie. Because some of the things that she was flashing to were memories of stuff that happened to her before the memories were implanted.
Yeah,
when she was first like drawn out of the tub when she was born. She was first like choking on her own bile, and like they were doing all the surgery stuff to her. That's where the weird memories were coming from. And the weird women that she's seeing in the woods are actually some of the other failed clones.
Because the process isn't perfect. Might take them several times to get a clone that's actually physically viable.
But because they're usually doing it for someone who has either died or is on their deathbed, there's only so many times they can do it before they no longer have usable samples.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a Hail Mary that this one's got to work. Otherwise, we're going to run out of samples to do this again.
Yeah.
And they've already done it at least 5 times by the time they got to her. And the other ones we see when she follows one of them back to the lab where they're built and they're staying at. And when she gets there, she meets other versions of herself. One that's just pure anger and is just a danger to everyone around her. So she's just strapped into like a fucking bed. Another one whose body is obviously turning on her and is like tumored and is just bloated as hell, who's obviously going to die real soon.
Yeah, not gonna last much longer.
Another one that can walk around and do all that stuff, but is obviously like not quite there in the brain and is not able to speak very well.
Yeah, and she finds a facility where they make these clones and realize she's not the only one. She's not the only subject.
The other people that are at that rehabilitation center are also like the Jason Isaac's daughter.
Yeah.
Which I thought was funny. I think his name is like Joseph and his daughter's Josephina.
Yeah.
Which I guess is the equivalent of calling your kid Junior. But then there's some other clones that she runs into when she's like walking through the house of mirrors that is this facility.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you know that she's actually a clone of herself because her real self ended up in a coma that she was never going to wake out of. So there's a very easy direction this movie could go, where her husband's an asshole doing all this, fuck all this, like burn it all down. And there is a burn it all down.
There is a burn it all down moment.
But what I really liked about the direction this movie went is there's this beautiful moment where now that she knows she's a clone, she has a whole argument with her husband and decides she's going to leave her husband and she's going to run away with the other clones and let them escape. But in the middle of preparing to run away, he comes into the room and she kind of like hides in the bathroom and watches as her husband takes care of every single one of the failed clones in the other room and treats them all like they're her.
Yeah.
Does not dehumanize a single one of them. They're all his wife and he loves all of them despite everything going on with them, despite the fact that most of them are going to die and one of them just straight up hates him.
Yeah.
He still loves them and he'll still take care of them. And it kind of harkens back to an argument they had earlier in the movie about like love and devotion and like, would you still be with me if I had like a prolapsed anus?
Yeah.
And you had to like shove my ass back into my back in or whatnot. And she didn't believe he would actually be the kind of guy to do that. But then we watch as he's literally like cleaning up like her poop hole that they drilled on her side.
Yeah.
On one of the clones. And so it's like, no, wait, he actually does love her. He actually does care about her. Everything he's doing here is actually out of love. It's fucked up.
Yeah.
You know, but he's not like discarding any of these women. He loves them all, and he loves them all because they're all her.
Yeah, and the reason he didn't tell her is that he was afraid that if he told her, that would cause, like, the memories to not take.
Which is also a cool little writing thing, because in the previous flashbacks, one of his reoccurring problems, and one of the reasons he keeps getting into arguments with his wife in all of her flashbacks, is he has this habit of lying to her to protect her.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to tell you that my sister hates you because I don't want you to feel bad about that. But it's still lying to her, right?
Yeah,
you know, it's
still lying to her.
Keeping the truth from her, and that constantly upsets her. So him not telling her that she's a clone, even though Jason Isaacs already told his daughter.
Yeah.
Speaks to his specific flaw in their relationship. It's the ultimate form of it. Maybe, had she known, she would have been...
A lot of this shit wouldn't have happened.
Because, with the exception of the clone that's just pure anger.
Yeah.
The other clones are all on board.
Yeah, the other clones are like, yeah, we got like, what, 5 days to live?
We didn't lure you back here and show you all this because we wanted you to leave him. We lured you back here because we wanted you to know the truth. We also, like, wanted you to see like how much he actually does love you. And it's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean this ending does not have its, intense dramatic moments, because Oscar Isaac's character finds out after the current clone that he has of his daughter dies that they no longer have any viable material to bring his daughter back.
There's nothing they can do.
So he basically snaps, burns down the entire fucking facility, and basically lays in the bed with his last dying clone daughter while the whole thing burns down. But this also means that at the end of the movie, the husband and the clone of his wife that is actually functional have to find a way to protect the other clones as the place is burning down. But the angry clone escapes and starts attacking both of them and basically brutalizes the husband, stabs him right through his fucking gut. What I love is that at the end of the movie, he basically ends up in a traumatic injury in which she now has to help him recover.
Yeah.
They finally understand each other, and they're finally essentially fix that part of their relationship that was broken beforehand. It has a very romantic ending.
Yes.
Even though it's a very fucked up movie. So yeah, that's Honey Bunch,
Yeah, that's Honey Bunch. A movie that it reminded me a little bit of was Cure for Wellness. Reminded me of Cure for Wellness a little bit.
I said this on Blue Sky, but I was thinking while we were watching the movie, man, I'm getting a Cure for Wellness vibes from this movie. And just as I was thinking that, Oscar Isaac showed up.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac shows up. You're like, oh.
And I was just like... But to be clear, it does have some A Cure for Wellness vibes, but it's also way low budget compared to A Cure for Wellness. So if you want a movie as big and gothic and bombastic, this is not that movie. But if you want a kind of Cure for Wellness vibe movie that's a little smaller, this movie will deliver on that front.
Yes.
So yeah, Honey Bunch, again, it is on Shudder. Go check it out. And with that said, where can I find you, Count Jackula?
Oh, you can find me here on YouTube, where I stream pretty much every weekday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I'd love to see you there, because we stream about all sorts of groovy things like horror, Satan, and all sorts of things that your mother wouldn't want you to be watching. How about you?
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on various social media platforms, but these days I primarily use Blue Sky, so follow me on there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way, but we will certainly accept more. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, I want you to comment below, and be sure to comment below using the hashtag Honey Bunches of Oats. Use the hashtag Honey Bunches of Oats, because I can't stop saying that ever since I read the title of this movie. So it had to be the hashtag. Also, just shout out to the title itself, Honey Bunch. I like that it's kind of a double entendre,
Oh, yeah, because there's a bunch of them.
There's a bunch of them. Yeah. And also Honey Bunch as in, a loving term of endearment for your lover.
Yeah.
And with that said, peace out, and we'll catch y'all later.